I'm John Felt, and this is the Blue Water Outlook weekly weather briefing for June 20th, 2026. Okay, let's start off by looking at some of the more significant threats this week. And what we have here is we have severe weather right over the central part of the nation. It looks like the greatest threat will be today, Saturday, over Kansas and Nebraska. We have some flooding in the middle Mississippi River Basin right here, tributaries in yellow on the high side are in flood. And then one of the things is this moisture here, precipitable water is high enough that there could be the potential for some really heavy downpours, especially these areas in red, and that poses a flash flood threat over the weekend. Now this is the severe weather plot for last week. Look at all the high wind reports. That's yellow over the eastern part of the state. Those purple are hail reports, so quite a bit. And look at all the tornadoes as well. Pretty active as far as tornadoes. And Illinois and Indiana have really been hit, even Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin, with tornado activity this year. So in addition to the tornado and severe storms, we had the first named storm, tropical storm, Arthur. And you know, whenever you bring in this tropical moisture inland, you almost always get really heavy rain. And that's what happened in this band right in here, some very heavy rain, and that was over a foot or two in spots, and that produced that widespread flash flooding, water rescues in that area. Everywhere else across the nation, pretty quiet. Look at this streakiness. These are the streaks associated with supercell thunderstorms. So temperatures last week, we had cooler than normal temperatures in this area of green. The western U.S. had the most significant departures above normal. Where was it hot? Well, look at the southwest and Texas. Anything in red made it above 105. And I see these little pockets of purple here. That's 110. So from a river standpoint, this is where the action is right now in this area in yellow over the central U.S. This is what's forecast, this area of green. And this is where we could still get some heavy downpours. Okay, so we take a look at the jet stream here, and what we have is a dip in the jet stream, and when this jet stream dips and sags to the south, that's bringing some cooler air. Here we have some warmer air associated with this high pressure, so the clash between these two is where the action will be this week. Now by Tuesday, you can see this is beginning to sag a little further south, and it should quiet things down. So here's our temperature profile. Look at that deep blue. That deep blue is well below normal temperatures for this time of year. As we get into the latter part of the week, still really pleasant in this area right here. Really pleasant conditions. But there will be some areas of high heat, and that's across the southern tier of the U.S. right here, red being major heat index. And look at Florida, all week long, some really hot weather. Now, some of you might head to Florida for the winter months. I did. I headed to Fort Myers for a little bit. And look at the temperatures right now, 95 degrees. I called my friend Craig Edwards down there, and he's saying it's really steamy and muggy down there with pretty high dew points and also these 95. So that's why we're looking at a major heat index all week. Meanwhile, up in Minneapolis, where it's so cold in winter, look at that. Beautiful conditions, 75 all week, lows in the 50s, wonderful weather. Okay, so where do we need rain and where don't we necessarily need rain? Well, these dark brown, the west, is where we really need some rain. Along the east coast, we need some rain, mid-Atlantic. This dark blue here or green here is where we don't need that much rain. So where are we going to get rain? Right in the middle of the U.S. That's it, sort of right in here, right in this area here. So it's not going to make it to the west, so it's not going to improve that drought situation at all in the west. Maybe this would be some improvement in rain in conditions in the northeast, mid-Atlantic, nothing. So in this area here, we have a frontal boundary here, we have a frontal boundary here, and right along that areas of low pressure, so we're going to get a lot of rain along the Missouri-Kansas border and down south into parts of Oklahoma and Arkansas this week. Let's take a look at the extended week 2. Well, here we go. Take a look at week 2. Looks like the hottest weather is going to be in the southwest and the southeast. And in case you missed it, this is the outlook for July. Take a look at it for your area. I think the takeaway for this is it's going to be an unusually hot summer for the Pacific Northwest. That's this week's briefing. Severe weather, severe storms, flash flood potential in the central U.S. this weekend. Take care.